Welcome back to the channel. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you like and subscribe to the channel. This is about Mayor Eric Adams. He's done. He's finished. Not officially yet, but I believe it's coming any minute or any hour or within a few days. I also believe that he does not deserve the mayoralship that he's had. He didn't deserve to be there in the first place. I'm going to give you a few reasons why. Many have heard what's going on with him, but if you do not live in New York State, you might not get the constant news on your local news channels about what's happening with him. To take you through a very brief little history of Eric Adams, I've studied him greatly in the past. And Mr. Adams came from very humble beginnings. His dad was a terrible alcoholic. His mother was a house cleaner. They grew up in the city. The mother made some money and moved them to Jamaica, Queens. And that's where Eric Adams would get into a lot of trouble as a youth. He would get arrested. He would be placed on probation. He would be working with prostitutes. He would be arrested for, I believe it was stealing money orders, and other crimes as well. So he had a very troubled past. I'm not holding that against him if he was a young kid. I had a troubled past myself when I was a young kid. Doesn't mean I should be mayor, although I'd probably make a good mayor. But we're talking about him. And so he had a very troubled past. And when he was arrested, he claims that he was mistreated by the police department, which is what inspired him to be a police officer. And so he would get onto the police department. And I think it's very important and noteworthy to know that Eric Adams did not do anything substantial as a police officer. He did not do anything that was noteworthy as a police officer. What Eric Adams did as a police officer is what we refer to as a mouthpiece. Okay, he started screaming about black people needing to be in higher positions and that black individuals should be promoted to higher positions inside of the police department, when the truth is that you need to earn the positions and not be placed in the positions because of your skin color. And so Eric Adams started making a very big deal about this. He formed a group called 100 law enforcement, 100 black law enforcement officers. And he started making waves. He started taking the stage with people like the groups like the Nation of Islam. He started taking the stage with Louis Farrakhan, who's known to be a tremendous racist. And what they did was try to shut Eric Adams up. And how they do that is they moved him up through the ladder. And they continued to move him up through the ladder because Eric Adams never shut his mouth. He kept screaming that blacks should have this and blacks should have that. And I understand someone fighting for their people. That's not what I'm getting on. But what I'm really saying is that we're supposed to earn the positions in life, right? And everyone had the opportunity to earn them, right? We're not going to get into that. What I'm saying is he was a mouthpiece, and that's why he was moved up so they can shut him up and he can get all the way to the top. So he really didn't do anything special as a police officer. He did his 20 years there, and he made it to the rank of captain. They pushed him to the rank of captain. And as he was captain, he was placed under investigation by the NYPD. This is long before he was mayor. So he's gotten into tons of trouble as a juvenile. Prostitutes, fraud, stealing bank checks. Then he gets onto the police department, runs his mouth like crazy until he gets to be the captain. Then he's under investigation again for divulging departmental information to people. He's found He's found guilty of that. And he's kind of forced out of the police department. And so he leaves the police department. And what he does at that time is he runs his mouth uses that credibility from the police department to get into the New York Senate from 2006 to 2013. Right. And after that, he became the Brooklyn Borough president. And that's when he decided that he was going to run for mayor. And so as he runs for mayor, he's going against a couple candidates. He wins like 67% of the vote. And this is where all hell breaks loose because he was a terrible, terrible mayor, right? Crime skyrocketed under Mayor Eric Adams. People had hoped for more because he was a police officer and he was a captain on the police department, and people thought that he would do more to back the blue, to help the cops. But under his tenure as mayor, crime skyrocketed in New York City. They could put all types of claims out that these numbers came down and these percentages came down. I live 45 minutes from New York City. I travel into New York City. I follow the New York City news. Under Mayor Eric Adams, people are getting set on fire in the subways. People are getting pushed in front of subway cars. People are getting slashed and robbed and shot in the New York City subways and the New York City streets. But mostly what he did is all you have to do is look back a few months, is when the illegal immigrants needed a place to go, he stood at the bus station in Manhattan welcoming the buses, giving press conferences saying, in New York, everybody is welcome. We're a sanctuary state. We're a sanctuary city. We're going to take everybody here. And he welcomed all the illegal immigrants. I have no problem with immigration, but I have a problem with illegal immigration. Okay, we're all immigrants. We all came here from somewhere else, unless you're an American Indian. And my ancestors came to Ellis Island and went to work and paid taxes and got their paperwork and got their social security numbers and did what they had to do. And if they don't do that and you come illegally, it's all of us that are paying for the people that came illegally. That's not fair and that's not right. That's not even a topic of discussion because I'll demolish you in that, right? And so Eric Adams welcomes all these immigrants here, and he starts giving them vouchers. He starts giving them $5,000 cash vouchers on cards, which was a scam in itself. Okay, the whole card scam. But he's giving these people money, and he's putting them up in fancy hotels while you got veterans from the United States military sleeping on the streets of New York, where you have New York citizens, American citizens, and New York residents sleeping on the streets of New York. He's putting these people in fancy hotels, taking over property all over the state and putting illegal immigrants in there as crime is through the roof, as drugs are through the roof, as people are going into stores and robbing the stores with no repercussions. He didn't have any influence on the governor, Kathy Hochul, about the bail reform laws, right? So he's been a mess for crime. He's been an absolutely mess for crime. And then all of a sudden, he gets under indictment, right? And they indict him for fraud. They indict him for bribery. They indict him for taking illegal campaign donations, all right, to travel on planes and take vacations. They indict him on taking money from the Turkish government officials, right, to issue permits, right? He gets indicted for doing stuff with the fire department, getting them to approve buildings that shouldn't have been approved, right? The guy is as dirty as they come. And as I said in the beginning of the video, he just ran his mouth to get in all these positions that he was ever in, right? So now he falls under indictment. And of course, with no humility, he refuses to accept any responsibility. I'm innocent. I'll let the lawyers take care of it. He stays away from the situation and then goes into churches and tries to preach and say that this is all being done to him for other reasons, right? The guy has had nothing but a big mouth through his entire career. There was also a little issue with him that he doesn't even live in the state of New York. That's when he was running for mayor. He got over on that scam because him and his wife have a co-op in New Jersey. But then he tried to say that he doesn't live there and he lives in New York, which is kind of not irrelevant. But the guy is a fraud from the beginning, is what I'm saying. He's been nothing but a fraud. Also, I mean, this is the first mayor in our history to be charged with federal crimes. Right? And as I said, there were bribery, fraud, soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations. I mean, this guy has been a total mess, right? He's never had much of a brain at all, okay? He did terrible in school, right? His school grade, he's not intelligent. He's not a smart guy. As I said, he moved up because of his mouthpiece. He did terrible in school. And of course, one of the first things he does when he becomes mayor is appoint his brother, right, as head of security at $200,000 a year for head of his security. I mean, I don't know what more you even know about this guy to see right through him, to look at his actions and see that he's nothing but a fraud. There was a video that leaked out, which is also an important video that tells you something about his character. And it's not an opinion because it was on video and he had to apologize for it, where he was speaking in Harlem and he was calling all the white police officers crackers. Right? He was like, yeah, I outperformed those crackers. I did this, I did that. And then once the video got leaked, he had to apologize for it. What if a white guy, what if a white officer turned around and used the N-word and said, I perform better than all these guys, right? Do you think he would be able to be mayor if the video leaked out about him doing something like that? Right? So this guy is nothing but a piece of garbage. And he's always been a piece of garbage, man. I really can't wait for him to get out. I really can't wait for him to be forced out. I think it's coming any day. And I think it's overdue. It's long overdue. He needs to stop being an embarrassment to this city because everything under him has been a total mess. A total mess. Yeah, I don't know what more I can say about this guy. I mean, I think I produced enough evidence as just a regular guy to show that he doesn't belong in the position that he's in. I remember him making comments saying, oh, white supremacy is on the rise. I can't trust anyone but my kin. Right? I perform better than these crackers, right? Meanwhile, the guy's involved in fraud, involved in bribery, involved in accepting donations. And so now he switches positions as politicians do, and he tries to cozy up to Trump. I think Trump is wrong for trying to pardon this guy, right? I think he should let him go down. But, politicians have agendas, and the federal law and the state law is different, right? And so he wants to deal with the illegal immigration situation, and Trump wants to get access to Rikers Island. He wants to get access to the millions of illegal immigrants that came into New York State. And so he wanted to work with the mayor for this, right? But they didn't think the repercussions were going to come. Like Eric Adams, his staff has stepped down. First of all, so about 6 DAs, district attorneys, had stepped down from Manhattan because they said they don't want no part of this, right? And now Eric Adams' personal staff is stepping down, right? Because they don't want no part of this either. The situation has become a mess. So there's a lot of pressure on Governor Hochul, Kathy Hochul, who's another waste, right? To put pressure on him. She's a waste too. Don't even get me started on the governor. She's pure evil. You could look in her face and see evil. Could you ever look at someone and see that someone's no good? Looking at Kathy Hochul reminds me of looking at Hillary Clinton. Two vicious, evil, scamming, sneaky, conniving people. That's what those two women are, right? And so Kathy Hochul's been no good either. She's just, don't get me started on her. Let's get the mayor out of here. I hope he gets out real soon. I believe he's going to get out real soon. I'm talking about, I think they'll get him out. I'm hoping it's before the end of the day, but I'm thinking he'll be out real soon because there's a lot of pressure on Hochul to get him out right now. And these people, they don't live on principle. Right? They live on peer pressure, the pressure of their peers, because they have no morals, politicians. They have no values, politicians, right? Principle is something that comes from the inside. That's what you're supposed to stand on. You stand on principle, no matter how much pressure is coming on you from the outside. You see, people always thought that peer pressure was only something that affected kids in junior high school and elementary school. Politicians succumb to peer pressure every day. That's what they do. They have no principle at all. And Eric Adams is one that has not had principle from the very, very beginning. Right? He was that way when he was young. He was dealing with prostitutes. He was robbing people. He ran his mouth to move up into the police department. He ran his mouth to become a mayor. And now he should run his mouth right out of there. That's my opinion on Eric Adams. Let's get it out of here so we can clean up New York. And I have no faith we're going to get someone in there better because the next man in line is a disgrace. If he gets in there, I already know who they're talking about. I'll be back to rip him apart too. You guys have a wonderful day. I love you.